It's amazing seeing people, go through their first ice bath.
People have been doing ice baths since 5000 BC.
Yeah.
But with monk, how does it then become smart?
It's combining that ancestral wisdom with 21st century engineering.
What are the benefits for a woman particularly if they want to do cold plunges?
Around ovulation, that is like peak time. That's when you have like the highest tolerance to the cold. Because I don't think people realize that we're designed to feel great in all phases of our cycle.
Do you visibly see a difference when you take a cold plunge and then like when you've not?
Ooh.
I am absolutely in love of the name monk.
I said monk and then thought, nah, that's awful, forget it. And then the next morning he sent me a picture and just said, I kid you not, this just landed on my doorstep. I didn't order it, there's no note, no sender. And it was the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Wow, no way, what?
If you are new here, I'm Garima, the host of Popkast with Garima, and this is season 4. Oh, and a big shout out to rollercoaster.health. Rollercoaster.health is a women's healthcare company which supports you in your hormonal highs and lows and twists and turns. Thank you, rollercoaster.health.
There are two kinds of people in this world. The first, who shower casually at 42 degrees Celsius. When they leave the shower, it's all foggy. Their bathroom has almost become like a makeshift sauna. And then there's the second kind. The kind who willingly plunges in freezing cold water first thing in the morning because they believe it can unlock peak performance, focus, and insane amount of resilience. Well, if you're the first kind, my guest today will make you reconsider your choices. And if you're the second one, then get ready to geek out because my podcast date today is the founder and CEO of Monk, world's first at-home smart ice bath, and Monk was voted as UK's top 100 companies for this year. Laura Fullerton, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for you to take your very first plunge today.
Okay, so Laura, welcome to the show again, first of all. I must congratulate you on the impeccable design of this. You know, most of the ice bath pools that I've seen online, because this is my first time doing one and I'm absolutely dreading it. But I must genuinely compliment you on how aesthetically pleasing, what a sleek design. It's aspirational. I love the leather little, detailing here. I love the name Monk, first of all. We're in your headquarters, so thank you for inviting us. But I must compliment you on such a beautiful job done.
Oh, thank you so much. We just thought it was really important to design something that you'd actually be proud to have in your home and in your garden, rather than feeling like it's something you just need to hide away and hope that people don't see.
Yeah. I love it. So this is my first time. I don't want to make a fool of myself. So why don't you take me through the process, what to expect, what's it like? I've done breathwork before, so we're going to test how's my breathwork holding up. Yeah. But tell me everything about it.
Okay. Well, firstly, I want to ask you, how are you feeling about your experience? Are you apprehensive? Are you excited?
Both.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's completely normal.
Yeah.
Even as someone who cold plunges all the time, there's always that heightened feeling before you get in, because you're about to do something hard. So I think it's always really helpful to remember why you want to do it. So for example, for me, the thing that I get most out of it, it's this sense of resilience. So sometimes I even think about what it is that I want to overcome or something before I get in. And then when I'm in there and I'm, the first 30 to 60 seconds is the hardest. But if I really think about why I want to stay in there, it just really helps get me through.
I mean, I'm honestly ready to get in.
Yeah, you just want to get it done.
Yeah, I also get it done, but also this is my first time. So I'm very thrilled about the experience of experiencing it and with none other than you, who is the founder, so you know your shit the best.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
So what we typically do is we sit on that back bit there.
Okay.
So this bit here, you can perch on it before. And what I try and do is just, let's just say 5 long deep breaths, just to help get yourself mentally prepared.
I mean, I'm already gasping, breathing. I'm preparing
I think
myself.
you'll be fine. It's amazing how, like, people are generally sometimes quite terrified doing it for the first time, and it's amazing seeing people afterwards just saying how much easier it was than they thought it was going to be. Because you realise you're so capable of doing hard things, and that's what you're going to get from this today.
Do people also like fully plunge themselves into it?
Not often. You can put your head in. You have to kind of dunk forward, but I wouldn't recommend doing that.
I'm not dunking my head.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, hair looks too good.
Yeah. Okay, and tell me everything about this, because this is the smart side of it, the technology side of it. Because, one of the questions that I actually wanted to ask you is that why should somebody spend their money on this versus the DIY ice bucket challenge? And like, why should somebody drop their serious money into buying one of these equipments, and how is it different from just any run-of-the-mill, ice baths?
Yeah, so I think the DIY solutions, and even like the blow-up ice baths, are an amazing way to get started. But as soon as you want to make it a regular part of your practice, you realise, you can't keep the water at a certain temperature. You have to buy like endless bags of ice. And it gets to the point when you want to make it part of your practice, you really want that convenience and that guidance as well. Because the thing we realised when we were building Monk is that it's such a powerful tool, but people don't know how to use it like safely or effectively. And so, if you were using it for mental health and someone else was using it for muscle recovery, you'd use it in a really different way. And so that's where like the guided side of the app comes in. So we really want Monk to be your cold water coach. So if you're a complete beginner, there's an acclimatization program that will take you like slowly from 10 degrees all the way down to 3. Yeah,
and it's all embedded in this machine.
That comes with the companion app. Yeah. Okay. And so you can, like, on the panel here, you can change the temperature and everything like that, which you can also do in the app.
What's the flight mode?
That's airplane mode. So a bit like your phone, if you want to switch off all Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, you can do that from here as well.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then the big middle button is a timer, and it counts up. So for some people, they just want to get to 30 seconds. For other people, they don't care about the timer at all, and they just want to stay in for 30 breaths or however long. So, yeah.
Wow. And again, the conversation around ice baths is mostly for, as I said, like these bearded men like doing ice bath challenges. For an everyday man or a woman, like why should they do this?
One of the things that's made it so popular in recent years, it has been immunity and mental health. I think mental health is the thing that's really driven it. People have been using it for decades, like athletes. As a practice, it dates back to 5000 BC. So, it's nothing new. Although people talk about it as a trend, it's just become much more popular. But I think even in 3 to 5 years from now, it's going to be as normal as meditation is today.
So what's the sweet spot? Because some people do it for like quick 2 minutes. Some will stretch it to, let's say, 10 minutes, but we don't want a hypothermia situation.
No. So
So what's the sweet spot? How long are you supposed to do this?
If you just want that like mental reset, morning awakening, like 2 minutes is amazing. Even like after 30 seconds, you really start getting the benefits. Typically, if people are doing 10 minutes, they're doing it at a much higher temperature, like 10 degrees, 15 degrees, and that's really more for muscle recovery. So again, it depends why you're plunging.
Okay, wait to get started.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Okay, nice. Remember to exhale.
I'm supposed to sit inside, right? This is cold. Wow. Starting to like almost, I can feel my legs freezing.
Yeah, that happens.
Like
the feet for me are the worst.
Yeah.
So deep breath in and just a nice slow exhale as you lower yourself.
Oh.
You can do it. That's it, remember to breathe. You've got that. That's it. As much as you can control those exhales, it will get easier quickly. Even if they're shaky, just keep that going. Yeah, nice.
Okay, my butt isn't resting where it's supposed to rest.
You can let yourself go down a bit lower if you can.
Okay.
No, you got that. Keep the exhales. That's it. So you seem like you're more in control of your breath now. How's it feeling?
I feel everything is freezing.
You're doing well though.
But honestly, it's not that bad. I'm stuttering. I'm stuttering.
Have you seen the time? We've already done 1.5 minutes.
No.
Yeah.
Way. Should I go because I'm still hanging loose. Now.
Amazing. So notice how different your breath is now compared to when you first got in.
And this is still 10 degrees, right?
Yeah.
You want to make it 3 degrees?
No.
No? Because you wouldn't recommend it for the first time.
Yeah. You've done just over 2 minutes now. That's amazing time. I would recommend it's probably a good time to get out.
Is it?
Yeah. Because
I'm just literally when
How are you feeling?
honestly at peace. I didn't think this would be this amazing. I had a sleepless night just thinking about it. Okay. 240, not bad.
That's
I'm
great.
bloody proud of myself.
You should be. I'm impressed.
Okay. Now, right?
Yeah. That's amazing. You did 3 minutes.
Wow. This was good.
That's
I'm
your
gonna
first
make
ice
myself
bath.
a regular here. This is so
Please
good.
do. Oh, sorry. I should have put this out for you.
Ooh.
You'll stand on that. Might be a bit comfier.
Wow.
Nice.
This is genius, Laura. This is bloody genius. Wow. And I feel amazing, honestly.
What do you feel?
Cold. Of course, but I think there's this sense of calmness. I feel like I want to go again, and this time maybe like dip till, let's say, my neck. Because
You could do.
I'm not wet on the top like I feel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so eventually you want to get down to your neck because that's when you target the vagus nerve. But as a beginner, sometimes people just start kind of going up to their waist. So you did really well.
Wow.
Amazing.
This is so good. This is honestly so good. How much do you retail this for?
5,995.
This is very good. This is literally very good.
Thank you, Laura, for my first ever cold plunge. I think I'm going to be a flag bearer of this and I'm going to be promoting it everywhere because this was so good. I had a sleepless night and I was just dreading about it, but this was honestly so good. Thank you for guiding me and giving me this opportunity to come to your headquarters and actually do this.
Oh, you're so welcome. Honestly, I'm thrilled that you did it and you had such a good experience. It's amazing seeing people go through their first ice bath and actually having such a good experience, especially when people say they hate the cold.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those, right? I'm the first kind of people who take their showers at 42 degrees Celsius. So this one was honestly very, very nice and impressive. I want you to touch a little bit about the smart functionality of this ice bath, right? We see people doing ice bucket challenges DIY at home and they just wing it, but I'm sure there are some modalities and technicalities around it, and this is such a sexy little thing. But talk to me a little more about how is this technology first, because people have been doing, as you said, ice baths since 5000 BC.
Yeah.
Right? Which is long enough. So it's not like a wellness fad or a wellness trend that just recently popped up. It's been going around for ages. But with Monk, how does it then become smart?
It's combining that ancestral wisdom with 21st century engineering. For me, one of the most exciting parts of the smart functionality is the integration with wearables. So like Whoop, Aura, there's like 30 different ones. Yeah, so it will pull through that data. And at first we're just looking at sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, and HRV and resting heart rate. And so we can actually show how Monk improves those really important health metrics. I'm obsessed with data. I'm a biohacker. I love tracking my sleep and everything like that. So actually then to bring that into Monk is really cool. But I think what I'm really excited about is in the future, although we're just looking at those metrics to start, we can start seeing so much other data, like for example, if we were to integrate with women's like menstrual tracking apps, that's fascinating, because then you can start to tailor the advice and say, look, you're coming up to your menstrual phase, like now's a good time to taper off, or like, hey, you're ovulating, like this is a great time to go for it if you're feeling, energized.
I think wearables is such a smart integration. And then do you visibly see a difference when you take a cold plunge and then like when you've not? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is. Like the things
Tell me
that are
like
really
some shocking stats.
Do you know what? I don't know if we because we've only recently launched, we don't have like shocking stats from a load of customers.
Okay.
But it's really powerful hearing from the ones who've like really noticed a difference. And some of the key things we hear about is sleep. I know Alex on the team as well, that's something that she really notices if she's done a cold plunge. And for me, even if I do it in the evening, if I combine it with contrast therapy, I will sleep like a baby. And like you really notice that, particularly my deep sleep, and actually deep and REM.
Contrast therapy is like when in the morning, let's say you go for a plunge and in the evening you have a sauna. Is that contrast therapy?
Like back to back. Yeah. So I'll go from the sauna, then have a plunge, then go back in the sauna.
Like that. Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
Okay, you spoke about how women can really benefit off of these cold plunges. And as I was telling you, like most of the picturization around ice bath is bearded men in shorts, just checking their resilience in ice cold water. But I think that what you said about like women can really benefit from doing cold plunges. And especially if they sync it to their cycles.
Yes.
So what's the right way for somebody who wants to do this? What are the benefits for a woman particularly if they want to do cold plunges?
Yeah, so I always break it down into the phases. So, follicular I take as like early follicular and late follicular. So early follicular being like, the day one of your period.
Yeah.
So throughout that week, I just wouldn't use cold plunge at all. Some people actually find that it really helps with inflammation. So they'll do like shorter, it might just be like 30 seconds or a minute. Personally, I don't like to do it then, but during the second week of follicular, that's when estrogen starts to rise, and like that's when I'll start tapering them in. For me, or actually for most people, around ovulation, that is like peak time. That's when you have like the highest tolerance to the cold. It's when you feel most resilient and energized. I think people always talk about it as like the peak power phase.
Yeah.
And that's a really good time. Like, if you want to do either longer or slightly colder plunges, that's a really good time to do it. And actually Dr. Stacey Sims did a pilot study, and she took females who had severe endometriosis, which is predominantly an inflammatory condition.
Yes.
And over 10 days around ovulation, they used ice baths, and within 3 menstrual cycles they said the symptoms were almost completely gone, which is crazy, from like getting in the cold. And these are people with severe endometriosis.
Yeah, I mean, symptoms of endometriosis can be like debilitating for people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have massive cramps. I mean, I'm almost paralyzed when I'm on my day 2 of my period. So I can only imagine how this can help.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a revelation. So it's not just for men, because that's also like a myth, you don't see enough women doing it.
Yeah.
And there you are championing
Yeah.
it.
But then equally, you get people that saying, women should never cold plunge, it's so bad for you. And like, if you use it incorrectly, then it is. Like anything, like doing HIIT in the wrong phase of your cycle isn't good for you. But it doesn't mean that women shouldn't do it. It's just knowing when to do it.
I think generally the concept of body literacy is now occurring to me at the age of 31. I think like until then we weren't really taught what's your follicular, what's your luteal back in school, right?
No, not told anything about it.
I think
it's
like
just
these
you're gonna have a period.
you're just gonna have a period, right? But then throughout the 28 days of how your cycle is and how that affects every bit of your hormones and how you feel, how you behave, how you sleep, how you are feeling is all dictated by your hormones, right?
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
Yeah, and it's slowly starting to come in, into the mainstream conversation, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people realise that we're designed to feel great in all phases of our cycle, but we just don't know really what to eat, how to exercise, like what we should be doing more of or less of during different phases. And I think once you tap into that, it's incredible.
Unlock.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, so when you then get into the luteal phase, like again, I break it down to like the kind of the first half and the second half. In the first half, I'll still do some plunges, but then towards like the second half, like late luteal, just before my period, I won't plunge at all. And I think it's at that point that it can become detrimental, because your body's already under a lot of stress, and the cold, it's a really powerful stressor. So you just don't want to be putting more on your plate when you're already low.
Yeah. Yeah, I love optimizing for this. I think it can be slightly overwhelming,
Yeah.
but I love optimizing on how can I be at my best, and I can harness the best.
Yeah.
You are a biohacker. You said you've had businesses before where you've again like championed longevity. There was a subscription box as well,
Yeah.
And you have been at the epicenter of championing health and longevity and nutrition via different modes of your business. I would love to understand from you, how do you foresee what's the next wellness trend, and how do you as an entrepreneur think like, okay, this is trending, this is where I'm gonna put my money. What's the process in your mind?
I think I've always approached it from an angle where I've either had a problem myself, like for example with Monk, there was just nothing meeting my needs. And it's almost more like a moth to a flame. I'm just drawn to something and I can't stop thinking about it, and then I just have to kind of bring it to life. So it's not necessarily, I've never taken a structured approach to it, or I thought, okay, this is doing really well in the US, if that's happening here, it's going to be here in 3 years. But let's say, for example, when I had the idea for Monk, obviously then I did a lot of market research and looked how it's performing in other markets that were ahead of us, etc. But yeah, it's always been like, what do I want as a product?
Amazing. And what's been your, tell me some customer testimonials about the early adoption of Monk. How has it changed people's life, and like something that's just amusing for you as well?
Gosh, there's been so many amazing anecdotes. One customer, their child, I say their child, I think they're around like 13, 14 years old, and they've had quite a few behavioural issues. I don't know exactly what they're dealing with. I think there's a lot of anger and emotion and stuff. And they've started using Monk, which is amazing. And they said it's made such a difference to their behaviour, which is incredible, because if someone connects more with their child because of the cold, it's just incredible.
Wow, that's heartwarming.
Yeah, and our chairman, who's a very successful businessman, said it's like the one health tool he's used that has just really, really changed things for him. He uses it before, I think just in the morning, but just really sets himself up for the day and just helps him make better decisions, which is awesome.
Also the fact that you can seamlessly integrate this into your day-to-day life, right? So you don't have to be a Pro Max athlete
No, for sure.
to do this. I think like the example that you gave is just so beautifully presented for somebody, without any struggles or with struggles, to actually make use of the product.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest testimonial, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I love
and actually I spoke to a customer the other day. Well, it was actually her husband who bought Monk, and she said, I didn't expect to use it, but actually I've been using it and really enjoying it. Now I've been getting some friends around and they've started using it. And like that for me is incredible. It's like, your experience today, and also my experience before doing it, thinking, I'm going to hate this, but then actually trying it and being like, how can I get more of this?
Yeah, me too. I'm like, okay, I want to dip my neck a little bit the next time I do this. Okay, amazing. And what's planned ahead for Monk?
Ooh, so global expansion. Yeah, so we're just toying up 2 markets at the moment. So probably in the next few months, you'll know where we're going. So that's all slightly under wraps at the moment. And we're going to be developing a lot more content for our app. So some of those guided plunges.
Let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
actually, you told me that when you're sitting in there are these soundscapes and wonderful guided meditations that you can listen to while you're actually inside. So tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so it's almost, I think, like comparing a stationary bike to a Peloton. When you've got like the instructors and the music, and it's just a really different experience. It's a bit like that through an ice bath. So we've got a variety of content on there. Some of it's really like soothing and down regulating, and it feels very like positive and emotive. And there's some that are more energizing and upbeat. And it's amazing just the different kind of experiences you can create. I almost liken it, it's a bit like if you're in the gym, some people want like that encouragement and that motivation, and some guys just want to be shouted at and told whatever profanities from their friends, and that's what gets them through. And so we're just figuring out right now like what resonates with people, what do people want us to build. And then one of our investors, Anthony Joshua, the boxer, he's going to have his own program on the app, which will be really exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're just starting to work on that too.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm excited for you. And tell me the most fundamental thing. I am absolutely in love of the name Monk. I think it just very seamlessly it's a marriage of like what you said, the ancestral wisdom and then the modern engineering. But how did it come about? I think like founders always have a very fascinating story to them.
Yeah, and it is a weird story. So one evening, my friends and I were brainstorming all kinds of ideas, and I said monk, and then thought, nah, that's awful, forget it. And my friend was like, no, that's amazing, I love it. And we got really excited about it. And then the next morning, he sent me a picture and just said, I kid you not, this just landed on my doorstep. I didn't order it. There's no note, no sender. And it was the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And I just thought, it's got to be a sign.
Wow. No way. What? So somebody, it was actually a sign for you to go with the name?
Yeah, that's what I took it as. Yeah.
No, of course. Oh my God.
But I mean, it turned out one of his friends sent it to him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay. And then in terms of like, what are the next few things, if you want to tell anybody who is almost on the fence of deciding whether to hop on it or not, do you have anything to say to them?
Yes, absolutely try it. And that could be anywhere. You could just try it in your shower at home, just making the last 30 seconds cold. Personally, I actually find that a lot harder, and I think to get the full experience, it would be amazing to go and try a bit like I did, like some sort of breath work and ice bath workshop. Of course, it'd be great to try it in monk, but any cold body of water is amazing. I mean, this time of year, it's starting to get a little bit too cold outside, but you could still just about go to, Hampstead Heath Ponds or somewhere like that, the Serpentine in London. And if you go with friends, it makes it so much more enjoyable for your first time.
Do you want to like tell them where can they purchase this from?
Yeah, discovermonk.com, or you'll also find us on social at discovermonk as well.
Okay, and they can go and directly make a purchase, and then it gets shipped to their house. And what's the installation process like? It's simple.
Yeah, we made it plug and plunge. So really
plug and plunge. Yeah. I love that.
So we would put it in your house garden, wherever it is you want it. Take away all the packaging, and then all the person has to do is just fill it with water and plug it in.
And then do you recycle the water? Like what happens to that? How long can you keep the water going on?
Yes, we've got ozone sanitization in there as well as a filter, so that kills all the bacteria, algae, as well as getting rid of any like physical debris. Yeah, in a consumer setting, it can be anywhere from like 1 month to 4 months that you need to actually change the water. Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
It's pretty low maintenance.
It is, and it looks stunning. Like it's definitely worthy of compliments for anybody who visits your house. Amazing. This has been a one-of-a-kind experience, Laura. Thank you so much for having me over for this wonderful experience and for telling me everything about Monk, your journey, the story, the product, the testimonials, why one should actually experience cold water therapy.
Thank you so much for giving it a go.
I'm honestly very, very excited. See, my phone is excited more than I am. But thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Thank you.